Okay, my Straight Talk family, when you hear that theme song, you know it's the time for me to extend greetings and welcome to another edition of Straight Talk on a Thursday night. And to welcome in particular our first-timers and importantly as well, those of us here in St. Kitts and Nevis and those throughout the entire Caribbean region. Matter of fact, everyone throughout the world, because we are on the World Wide Web and we reach and touch you in the Kittitian and Nevision and the Caribbean diaspora throughout the entire world. Some of you are in Africa. There are some of you in Asia. Some of you are in Europe. And there are a whole lot of you all over North America. So I'm at liberty to say good night. I can say good morning, and I will also say good afternoon, because one of such greetings will be applicable to the region in which you now find yourselves. And for the first timers in particular, just to inform you that Straight Talk is a public service program that facilitates and promotes free expression on all issues of national interest, be they legal, be they environmental, be they technological, social, economic, and or political issues. On Straight Talk, you do have a forum to express yourselves freely. And let us, in the process, strive to get St. Kitts and Nevis back to that enviable position of being one of the freest countries in the entire world. I know it's going to be a difficult task, a Himalayan task, especially with what's happening in respect of leadership, for example, in our country. And we do have lots to be desired in this particular area. But on this program, we try as well to raise the level of national consciousness. We try to raise the level of national discourse by alerting our people to their rights, to their responsibilities, and certainly to their obligations. My name is Ian Patches Liburd, and I give Almighty God thanks for blessing me with yet another opportunity to join you in conversation on yet another occasion. And as your host, I will hasten to pledge to remain an untiring advocate of truthfulness. And I always am reminded by some words, excerpts from a hymn, famous hymn of mine, a favorite hymn of mine, I should say. And the excerpt reads something like this: we are called to be God's prophets, speaking for the truth and right, standing firm for godly justice, and bringing evil things to light. So let's seek the courage needed, our high calling to fulfill, that we all may know the blessing of the doing of God's will. And my Straight Talk family, absolutely nothing is watered down on this program. On this program, nothing is exaggerated. We don't promote sensationalism. We are creating excitement. That's not what Straight Talk is all about. And we don't do this because we lean on the facts. We are not going to sacrifice accuracy, because it's my bounden duty to present an unvarnished or the unvarnished truth, my Straight Talk family. And I mean the plain truth, especially when it comes to governance in our beloved country of St. Kitts and Nevis. The program joins us together with people across our federation. Through this program, we are joined with people across the diaspora all over the world. And we will have met many we may never meet. Some will agree with the positions of truth that we advance on Straight Talk, and some will disagree. And that's what Straight Talk is all about. We entertain diverse views. But please, my Straight Talk family, it will sadden me, really sadden me, if we ever start to become disagreeable. So let's thank Almighty God nonetheless for helping us to understand, oh, how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. Let's therefore hope and pray for the day when we will all sing his praise together, my Straight Talk family. And we welcome again, once again, my people, and thanks for those who continue to share the link. We do get first-timers, and we trust and hope that it would not be your last time, my Straight Talk family. And for the first-timers, we would like to suggest that Straight Talk is a participative program. By that I mean we will include your call at some point in the program and your emails. And if you're so minded, call in. The numbers are on your monitors. They are 663-6672. That's the local number. You can access that from overseas as well. Just use the area code, which is 869. Or we do have an overseas number as well, which is 646-829-6672. There are many of you who like what I call the cloak of anonymity. We give you access via our email platform. And the email address is straighttalkpatches, that's one word, at gmail.com. Alexa is also heard live. We are also heard live on Alexa, I should say. And it's very simple. Just say, Alexa, play. And Massive Vibes Radio. And you're all over the world. You can access this program. A special welcome to our junior brigade. Our young Dwayne, Tristan, Shamar, Kevin, Rue, Jamal, Travis, Travon, and of course my special lady in St. Louis, my Straight Talk family. And we, on a very sad note, we want to extend our profound condolences to the family of Imark from the Keon area, the Lachlan family and his extended family, his fans, and more so, my Straight Talk family. We do extend profound condolences as well to the entire Niles Jones Somerset family down there in Pricklepear Alley. I've been lost a son, a brother, a nephew, an uncle, who was brutally gunned down, my Straight Talk family, brutally gunned down just a few nights ago, on Tuesday night to be exact. And my Straight Talk family, a life was just cut short that from all accounts, this life was filled with great promise. As you were Niles Jones, Milk, as many of us know him to be called, was recently elected as chairman of the constituency number 2 group, or PLP group to be exact. And yesterday, the PLP party issued this press release as it relates to the passing of Aziwa. And I say we know him as Milk, having been recently elected to the chairmanship of constituency number 2, that's Central Bastia. That would be no more. As I said, he was brutally assassinated on Tuesday night. And the press release reads, "With heavy hearts that the People's Labour Party note the tragic passing of a colleague, friend, and community activist, Mr. Aziwa Niles Jones, chairman of the party's constituency 2 group. The PLP is horrified by the murder of Aziwa. We have not only lost a community leader, but also a son, a father, a brother, and a friend. Aziwa made an indelible impact on the lives of citizens and residents of this country, and he will be deeply missed. The news of the heinous act that led to the loss of Aziwa's life has sent shock waves throughout the Federation. His murder now carries to 26 the number of lives, beg your pardon, that have been lost to senseless violence in the nation since the start of this year. The PLP calls once more on government and our security forces to address the growing sense of unease and discomfort, fear, and frustration that continues to permeate through our communities. And my Straight Dog family, the release goes on, and we are saddened, really, really saddened by this spate of murders under this July administration. From since assuming office, sadly, the number of murders have moved to 65 murders. 65 murders since our crime minister, the minister responsible for crime, Dr. Terence Michael Drew. These murders have escalated to 65, and there's no end in sight. And we just extend condolences once again to the family, to the extended PLP family as well, and St. Kitts and Nevis is not at a place that we would like to be at this time, my Straight Dog family. And the silence that's coming from our leaders is really deafening. We normally have our thesis as well, and the title of our thesis tonight, our short dissertation, is Lock Up July, Lucifer and the Advisors. So don't you change your platform, don't you change your link, my Straight Dog family, as we will get back to that after our observations in review, which are an integral part of Straight Talk, after which I will normally move into my thesis. Following my thesis, I will then include your calls, your emails, as mentioned earlier, to allow your full participation. Yes, on this program, if you're a first-timer, just to let you know, you get an opportunity to have your say. That's what Straight Talk is all about. No view is absolute. We entertain all views. And during our observation and review is the time when we highlight the current issues and do some reflection. We then ask a few questions, such as what was accomplished, how has it helped others, what has changed since, and what can be expected next, and what new we have learned as a people, because it's a learning process. As we live, we learn. And after our observations, we will begin our thesis for tonight, which I just intimated is titled Lock Up July, Lucifer and the Advisors. And for our first observation, we had a very, very rare glimpse of cruise tourism for a few hours yesterday. It took me by surprise and all, because I've not seen a cruise ship in port for weeks. And we ask ourselves, what's happening in cruise tourism? Yes, it's out of season, as they call it, but we always have been accustomed to having ships 52 weeks around the year. But not now under this July administration. So we welcome the arrival of the Royal Caribbean Cruise Line, Rhapsody of the Seas. It was a welcome sight to me, as for many months, as I said, I have not seen a cruise ship in port. But I found out that many store owners and taxi drivers were not that excited as I was. This vessel, with a capacity of 2,400 passengers, arrived at Port Zante at approximately 0800 hours, 8 o'clock in the morning, and departed at 1700 hours at 5 p.m. for St. Lucia, we are told. But the next scheduled arrival of any ship in port will be September the 10th. That's a few weeks from now, when we would accommodate the world's largest ship, the Icon of the Seas. So until that time, again, it's gone back to normal with is a port that has no arrivals. And strange but true, the Ministry of Tourism is rather quiet on these issues. Our second observation relates to the performance of a company called Bede. You must have heard about Bede, my straight dog family. But the performance of this company, Bede, over the years, in relation to St. Kitts and Nevis, because it all started over there in Nevis, and we were forewarned to stay far from Bede, but somehow someone convinced those in authority to tolerate Bede. Let me use that word. And this is a company that has been around in St. Kitts Nevis for over a decade and purports to do deep well drilling. I recall when I first encountered or saw a contract issued to them in January 2015, I think it was. They were contracted to do deep well drilling, meaning 400 feet and below the Earth's surface, and between above 400 feet, then the government or the Water Services Department had that responsibility. I found it a very interesting contract. But truth be told, Bede does not have a good record in any part of the Federation. In Nevis, for example, it was reported in Nevis that, or by the snake Mark Brantley, that Bede was contracted and paid $2 million to drill for water a few years ago. But the NIA has not received any water to date, neither has it been reimbursed, neither has it been paid back. the people's money of $2 million unless the snake Mark Brantley got back that money and he did not report it to us. But he told us this some time ago, my Straight Talk family.
As I indicated publicly before, we had made a commitment to have an additional 3 wells done at a global cost of 10 million EC dollars back in 2017. In fact, it was in August of 2017 that we paid to a company called Bead just over 2 million EC dollars as a down payment. Bead has never come to do the work for the government. And so we don't have our $2 million and we don't have any wells. We have decided to take legal action against Bead that is ongoing. So it has not been for want of trying in relation to water.
And we don't know what has transpired since that litigation process. But here in St. Kitts, my Straight Dog family, it's an entirely different story. Bead was contracted for over $6 million or more, I believe is the figure. But whereas water was found in 3 wells, the quality of the water found is the big question. Big question mark surrounding the quality of the water found by Bead. Residents in Keon complain daily about the salty water that burns the eye whenever they take a shower. And just recently, the supervisor of quality, I think, Sean Greenaway, told us that that well in Cabotry Keon is being looked at in terms of the quality of water that's been pumped from that well. There has been no subsequent report from the Water Services Department. But recall, Bead also drilled 2 wells in Shadwell. Shadwell 1 and Shadwell 2. The latter, my Straight Dog family, in Shadwell 2, water from that well was never put into the system as the quality of water found was deemed unfit for human consumption. And as such, that well has been capped for nigh 5 or 6 years, my Straight Dog family. 5 or 6 years, Shadwell 2 has been capped. It means it is not connected to the system, the network. The SOCO engineer, Conris Maynard, promised to address that issue after completion of the works at Cabbage Tree. The SOCO engineer said this to the nation.
When they are finished drilling the well in Keon and it is successful, we will then move to Shadwell, where there is an existing well that needs further addressing.
Shadwell 1, he said, would be addressed when they finish Keon. But lo and behold, my Straight Dog family, quality tests were done recently on Shadwell 1. And the results, we are told, were not good. Now, Shadwell 1 was put into the system since 2020, some years ago. Let me not misguide you. Shadwell 1 was put into the system some years ago. But just recently, we are told that the Bureau of Standards were engaged to do testing on several wells. I do not know the reason for that. And the Water Services Department has not told us. But this latest quality issue has caused the shutdown of the operation of that well, Shadwell 1. And Shadwell 1 produced over 500,000 gallons of water per day, my Straight Dog family. So the shutdown of this well has left the Buckley's area, Dewars, lower parts of Shadwell, Pine Gardens, and lower parts of New Road out of water for days since last week, Thursday, we are told. As a matter of fact, this is what the release from the Water Services Department contained. The release is clear and on your screens, but you note there's no reason for the shutdown. And water is only available in these areas from 4 a.m. to 9 a.m. in the morning, just for those 5 hours in the morning. The Water Services Department continue working assiduously to resolve the issue, and it will provide daily updates to keep you informed as the situation develops. We have not seen any updates from that particular one, but we understand that this well has been decommissioned, if that's the right term, by Straight Talk family. This well has been decommissioned because there are some quality issues with the well. And it goes back again, my Straight Talk family, to this bead. This bead, I perhaps need the entire program to tell you much more about bead. But suffice to say, my Straight Talk family, all 3 wells that were drilled by bead in the last 5 or 6 years have been associated with poor quality water, or water not fit for human consumption, my Straight Talk family. And we are looking and waiting to see what the waterman, Soca engineer Conris, would tell the country about that. You remember he sang his song, Water, Water. When he got some water, he said, in Keon. And our third and final observation, while on water, Straight Talk expressed grave concern about the transparency or lack thereof with respect to the construction of a new desalination plant. The lack of procurement in keeping with the appropriate legislation, the Procurement and Administration Act, have been raised on numerous occasions on this forum. And this prompted a comment from the Soca engineer Conris, which went something like this. He said this, my Straight Talk family.
The Attorney General's office has confirmed that the contract agreement for the new desalination plant is just about ready for sign-off, and so we should be signing that contract very shortly for the construction of the 2 million gallon desalination plant, which is the industrial site where the Texaco bulk facility used to be. This is right next to the ocean actually, and it's an ideal location for the capture of water and then the distribution to nearby 2 million gallon storage in Bird Rock, and even reaching storage as far as Lagreed. We had evaluated 3 proposals, and Royal Utilities was the selected developer, and so the contract will be signed with Royal Utilities, and we are at the final stages of that. And once the contract is signed, we anticipate that construction will take maybe up to about 8 months to get this additional 2 million gallons of water into our system.
But my Straight Talk family, we knew that the Soca engineer Conris, from the onset, when he told the country about 3 proposals, yet he could only name 1 to date, to wit the Royal Utilities Limited. But where is the funding coming from for this project? And why is it a secret? Our investigations that have been continuing reveal that it is being done through the CBI program under the public benefit option. So Prime Minister July must therefore come clean. He must come clean even for one time and tell the country how many shares has been approved for this project, and if the government will have to buy water from royal utilities. These are pertinent concerns. And the public needs to know and should know and have a right to know if, as a government, you are acting in a transparent way and you are accountable. But these are just some of the reasons, my Straight Talk family, why no one respects the Prime Minister. He's not transparent and provides no accountability. Reflect on the Royal or the Robert Llewellyn Bradshaw Museum. Since 2022 in September, or rather in August, he embarked upon the construction or the building of a turning the Bradshaw's residence into a museum. Spent some $8 million and has given no account to date for the people's money that was spent at that museum. But the work has come to an abrupt cessation. It just stopped abruptly. Think about the tanks, the water buckets. 1,000 tanks for $5.8 million, my Straight Talk family. And he has not accounted to the country for these tanks, although people are having difficulty with storage and water. But those are my observations in review for tonight. And my Straight Talk family, we move right into our thesis, which I titled, as I said, Lock Up July, Lucifer and the Advisors. And my Straight Talk family, several years ago, I recall on a Friday afternoon, an inspector of the Royal St. Christopher and Nevis Police Force by the name of James Sutton went to serve a warrant in the first instance, an arrest warrant, on a certain sitting member of cabinet who shall be nameless. This inspector was attached to the Financial Intelligence Unit, the FIU, that dealt with white-collar crime. Apparently, a well-known labor lawyer filed a report with the FIU. This lawyer that filed the report, we are told, carries the initials SA, convinced the police, who secured an arrest warrant from a magistrate in Basseterre. It was then DPP, that's Director of Public Prosecutions, Barriston Graham, who intervened and brokered an agreement between the parties to have the matter settled by 10 o'clock in the morning on the following Monday, thus avoiding restraint of the liberty of these two high-ranking individuals over the weekend. And when I reflected on this incident, my first reaction was, here is a zealous inspector of police infusing or injecting his politics into his job. But then on further reflection, I somehow began to admire the courage of Inspector James Sutton, which was founded in the concept, I then believe, that justice was blind. This Inspector Sutton, who thereafter spent years in Nevis, and as fate would have it, the political administration changed 2 years ago, and James Sutton got what I call a golden handshake. My Straight Talk family, a golden handshake from the fourth Prime Minister of this country, Terence Michael July, and was catapulted into his present role as Commissioner of Police. The tenure of Commissioner Sutton thus far has been turbulent, beg your pardon, turbulent to say the least. The Commissioner of Police, at times, my straight dog family, seemed to be between the rock and the hard place. How can he deal with this real situation, which points to what the National Security Advisor, Lionel Rollins, calls his gross incompetence? With the unprecedented crime wave in St. Kitts Nevis, the current disposition of Commissioner of Police James Sutton is in the public wash. The Commissioner of Police has no relationship, it seems, with National Security Advisor Wusi Rollins. And this is clear from his own political utterances, like the latest one, my straight dog family, when he said this, my straight dog family.
I also met with the Prime Minister, Honorable Dr. Terence Jew, Deputy Prime Minister, Honorable Dr. Jeffrey Hanley, Mr. Glenroy Blanchard, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of National Security, and Acting Commander of the Defense Force, Major Coyote Sutton, who all pledged to give their full support to the police department. Thank you for your continued support and for placing your confidence in our ability to protect and serve you.
And my straight dog family, you would glean from that video clip that it is clear that the Commissioner of Police only has the support of the Prime Minister, the Deputy Prime Minister, his Permanent Secretary, and the Acting Commander of the Defense Force, whom he thanked publicly. Commissioner of Police James Sutton also has the support of the dancing cop, as he was called. That is the former Commissioner of Police, Austin Williams, who posted this in support of Commissioner James Sutton. And it reads quite clearly, my straight dog family, if there is turmoil in national security, the advisors must be the ones to go. You always look for scapegoat. I hope they realize that the force is under strength. I wonder, it continues, if they are getting paid. Never heard of some of them. There are proposals I have been pushing for over 15 years, may not have been taken seriously, but they are still relevant. Leave the commissioner alone, writes Austin Williams, former Commissioner of Police, on his Facebook page. But my straight dog family, who are these advisors, you may ask? Austin Edinburgh, Austin Appleton Edinburgh. It is reliably rumored that as special advisor to Prime Minister Dr. July, Appleton attends Security Council meetings on behalf of the Minister with responsibility for crime, the Crime Minister, though he has no security clearance. Who are the other advisors, my straight dog family? Major Kerry Waterman, who joined the RSS in September 2019 as Director of Plans, Policing and Risk Management, and is in regular contact with our Crime Minister, Dr. July. Currently, Major Waterman, along with the NSA Rollins, is conducting the interviews for the soon-to-be vacant position of Commander of the St. Kitts Nevis Defense Force. He interviewed, we are told, Lapsy, Coyote Sutton, who is acting at the moment, and Maloney. I don't know the actual ranks of Maloney and Lapsy, that's why I referred to them by their names. But they are being considered, we are told, but strange but true, my straight dog family. These interviews are being conducted in the absence of Colonel Comrie, who is on leave? Who are the others in terms of advisors? Of course, we know the National Security Advisor. Dr. Lionel is called Wussy C.M. von Frederick Rollins, the National Security Advisor, who, according to the late Washi Archibald, he said, and I quote, has a big, long name. And who are the other advisors, my Straight Talk family? Astona Brown. And what advice does she take to meetings, one asks, or everyone asks? Is everybody's guess? And perhaps the dancing cup is best placed to inform us on this lady. Then we have Colonel Patrick Wallace, retired commander of the Defense Force, who is known for his reckless man management at Camp Springfield, which he dubbed Cuba, and his adopted name was Fidel Castro. And then we have, my Straight Talk family, another advisor, Major Leroy Fishy Percival. And many ask what Fishy knows about policing. Many ask what Fishy knows about policing, my Straight Talk family. And the common sense response is, learn to drill, Sergeant. Now, there's a view that Commissioner of Police James Sutton should lock up July and Lucifer for aiding and abetting the criminals after they dismantled the peace program, which he called a criminal enterprise, my Straight Talk family. He called the peace program a criminal enterprise.
So we launched the Elevate program because under the corrupt criminal enterprise called the Peace Program was a criminal enterprise endorsed, sponsored by the administration led by the member from number 7. The Peace Program was a criminal enterprise sponsored by the state. You had what you call a management review board and an initial engagement team come talking about peace program. This was a criminal enterprise sponsored by the state, Madam Speaker.
My Straight Talk family, he changed the name to Elevate, but is still paying over 700 persons through the same development bank, but he's paying them to sit at home idly. Commissioner of Police Sutton may, however, just be cautious, though, because if the Prime Minister does not agree with a police service commission, recommendation for any appointment, it shall not be advanced. And that's found in the Constitution of St. Kitts and Nevis, Section 85 to be exact, which is on your monitors, and it reads, appointment, etc. of police officers. And I quote, subject to Section 87, the power to appoint persons to hold or act in offices in the police force, including the power to confirm appointments, the power to exercise disciplinary control over persons holding or acting in such offices, and the power to remove such persons from office shall vest in the Governor General, acting in accordance with the recommendation of the Police Service Commission. But hear this, my Straight Talk family. There's a proviso which reads, provided that before the Commission makes any recommendation to the Governor General with respect to the appointment of any person to hold the office of Chief of Police or Deputy Chief of Police, the Commission shall, underline, shall consult with the Prime Minister. And if the Prime Minister signifies his or her objection to the appointment of any person to the office of the Commissioner, shall not, or rather, sorry, to the office, the Commission, beg your pardon, shall not recommend the Governor General to appoint that person. So you see, my Straight Talk family, do you understand that? Shall I read it again? The appointment of officers, and that second paragraph is a proviso which says that the Public or Police Service Commission, beg your pardon, prior to making any recommendation to the Governor General with respect to any person to hold the office of Chief of Police or Deputy Chief of Police, the Commission shall consult with the Prime Minister, and if the Prime Minister signifies his or her objection to the appointment of any person to the office, the Commission shall not recommend to the Governor General to appoint that person. My Straight Talk family, July and Lucifer, no doubt, will also have some degree of legal immunity or protection from prosecution while in office. It may typically cover their actions taken in their official capacity and is meant to ensure that officials can perform their duties without fear of legal repercussions. But what about the National Security Advisor Rollins, who said this, my Straight Talk family, publicly?
If you know that you're involved in the murder of someone, I would encourage you to borrow some money, buy an airline ticket, and leave the island. Because it's going to cause us problems. That's as bluntly as I could say.
And my Straight Talk family, the question then arises, isn't National Security Advisor Wusi trying to assist a principal offender after committing a crime? Is the National Security Advisor an accessory to crime? My Straight Talk family, one of the other advisors, and this is why the dancing cop and former Commissioner of Police Austin Williams said they must go. If anybody has to go, the advisors must go. And one of the advisors, it is reliably rumored, my Straight Talk family, is still a person of interest in the shooting of the Big Dread, my Straight Talk family. This is still a cold case, and the former Deputy Prime Minister can assist in bringing closure to this matter. When he said this, recall, my Straight Talk family, he said this.
What I could say to Douglas is that I know that the Jambo had given him money, he had loaned him money, and he had invested. And just before Zambo died, there was a meeting between Halva, myself, and Zambo about how he could recover his monies that he invested in the property and his property and so on. And Halva was supposed to organize a meeting with Zambo and Douglas to make those arrangements. I think those meetings were organized, but shortly after that, Zambo died, shot to death.
And my Straight Talk family, it is still reliably rumored or alleged that shells found at the crime scene match military-grade ammunition. But there are many issues, I should say, my Straight Talk family, that can be addressed, Mr. Commissioner of Police. But suspension of the leave of officers, of the rank and file, won't help, won't do. Because suspending their leave, my Straight Talk family, and Mr. Commissioner, does not address the policy issues. There are policy issues like a polygraph test, which must be adhered to, as no agency will share intelligence with the Royal St. Christopher and Nevis Police Force if your officers keep failing their polygraph test. Is it true, Mr. Commissioner of Police, that 90% of the officers in the Prime Minister's security detail failed a polygraph test? So too, that the Prime Minister is adamant about being, so to the officer I should say, that the Prime Minister is adamant about being promoted to superintendent. Questions are being asked, my straight dog family. What is the relationship between His Majesty's Customs and the police? Because Straight Talk has learned that there was not one seizure in the past 2 years. Is the Coast Guard doing any patrols? And where are the vessels? It is almost 12 years, my Straight Talk family, since we received interceptor vessels. Remember this?
This afternoon, we are assembled here to witness the formal handing over of 2 interceptor vessels and other equipment being donated to the government of St. Kitts and Nevis by the government of the United States of America. These vessels, with their trailers, spare parts, and a tow vehicle, are provided under the Secure Seas Package, a component program of the Caribbean Basin Security Initiative, of which I'm sure you will hear a little bit more this afternoon.
And that's 12 years ago, my Straight Dog family, since we received interceptor vessels. And almost 40 years ago, we received vessels that are now abandoned in somebody's boatyard, my Straight Dog family. Abandoned in a boatyard there in the countryside. But what does this mean when we talk about interdiction of guns and drugs? What has been done since the upsurge in crime, my Straight Dog family? What has been done are questions we are asking.
1985, the United States government has invested significantly in the security of the Federation, and in particular, our Coast Guard unit. This assistance has taken the form of training of personnel and assets and equipment. The first major donation was the Coast Guard cutter Stalwart, which was handed over to the Federation in 1985. Since then, we have received the Coast Guard cutter Ardent, 2 rigid hull inflatable boats, and this afternoon we are here to formally accept the 2 interceptor boats being handed over. This type of support is necessary as we live in a region that faces many transnational threats. These threats range from narcotics trafficking, the illicit trafficking of humans and weapons, to money laundering.
Narcotics trafficking, the illegal trafficking of humans, trafficking of guns. Are they familiar to us, my Straight Dog family? So what has been done since the upsurge in crime? How are we addressing these threats? Is it true, for example, my Straight Dog family, that Adipoti is one of July's security guards at government headquarters? Under July and Lucifer, we have a bad situation that will get worse before it gets better. Commissioner of Police Sutton, I will end just how I began and implore you to be courageous and exercise your statutory authority to arrest these advisors. There is probable cause that 1 or 2 of them have committed a crime. Let your justice be blind. Hold everyone to account. Lucifer, for example, must operate within the parameters of the Constitution. And my Straight Talk family, don't mind what you say or you hear them say from across the narrows about reintroducing the alternative lifestyle program. What about the Explorers program, my Straight Dog family? What about the Explorers program, which they have just dismantled?
The Explorers Club was supported by stakeholders, local and external, such as the USAID, the British High Commission, 2 universities in the United States of America. One of our outstanding community police officer, Rosemary Isles, received an award from Her Majesty the Queen, an account of her hard work with the Explorer Club and wider community policing. The Explorers Club emerged as an exemplary youth diversion program. The Explorers Club enrolled about 1,500 students, making it the largest organized youth group in our country.
And my Straight Talk family, let's talk about motive. Remember this?
Right now, as I said, the motive for homicide here, right now, is retaliation. Look at all of the murders that have taken place. It is one guy who was involved in the murder of another guy at some point in time. You don't see a normal average guy walking on the street getting murdered. You don't see a normal average woman in a house getting murdered. It is people who are living in that gang subculture who are being murdered. Who are murdering them? People who they murdered.
That can't be true, my Straight Dog family. Do you believe that? But the NSA trusts no one, my Straight Dog family. He said this as well.
In every police organization, there's a small percentage of people who cannot be trusted. And I'm saying it, we don't know who they are. It's not just here. You go to New York, it's the same. In New York, it's about 20%. In Scotland Yard, in the UK, it's about 30%. But we do know that we know police force anywhere in the world is perfect. And so there's a little element of distrust and mistrust. So I'm saying, if you have some information that you want to impart on us, that you know someone is about to go and do a retaliatory kill on someone else, if you don't want to call the commissioner or you don't want to speak to the commander of defense force, see me, tell me. I'm impartial one way or the other. I don't care about whether you are this way or that way. I care about the safety and security of the citizens of the Federation. That is my job.
Really? Many ask, my Straight Talk family. Commissioner, the only thing worse than being blind is having sight but no vision. Our first caller on our last program advanced that quotation. I use it tonight. But be courageous. Exercise your statutory authority. Arrest these advisors. There is probable cause that 1 or 2 of them have committed a crime. Let your justice be blind. Hold everyone to account. Lucifer, for example, as I said before, must operate within the parameters of the Constitution. And once you find probable cause, Commissioner James Hutton, lock up July, Lucifer, and the advisors. That's my story tonight, and I am not going to change it. I will entertain your calls and your emails. I'll open the lines right now, momentarily. And if you're so minded to call, the numbers again are listed on your monitors. But I always like to implore you that when I open the lines, which I'll do momentarily, I anticipate that you will respect others. And of course, to achieve that, you must first respect yourselves. Let us try to be fair to all concerned, and let us try to build goodwill and better friendship. Let us ensure that the things we say and or do will be beneficial to all concerned. With that said, I go to the lines, my Straight Talk family, at 9 and entertain my first call. Call your line. Hello, caller.
Good night.
My brother, how art thou? Good night. That sounds like the
Oh,
Bible.
wonderful, Mr. Patel.
You made it first tonight. That's good.
Yeah. That test, I wish I could do it tonight, but you not believe me, no?
Uh-huh. What's on your
You
mind?
not believe me. Patel,
Yes, sir.
I am going to read some psalm, but I'm going to give the most important one. But I'm going to give you some psalms after. Galatians, yeah. Here your bodies. I didn't hear this.
Let's let me get the psalm. Let me get the passage out.
Galatians chapter 3
Yes.
and the last 25th word. Here I tell you, Mr. Patrick. But he that do wrong. Hear that? Shall we see for the wrong which he have done? And there is no respect of person. That is, you hear that?
Yeah, go ahead, Bible man. Go ahead, please. I have other callers.
I'm going to tell you Psalm 41.
Mm-hmm.
Blessed is the man that considereth the poor in the time of trouble. The Lord shall deliver him.
Mm-hmm.
Psalm 34. I will bless at all times. His praise shall continue in my mouth. My soul shall make a boast in the Lord. The humble shall hear it and be glad. Oh, taste and see that the Lord is good. Blessed is the man that trusts in him. Mr. Patel, the last one I'm going to give you. Psalms 107. Oh, give thanks unto the Lord for his good.
Mercy.
For his mercy endures forever. It shall let the redeemer of the Lord say so, who he had redeemed from the hands of the enemy. But you cannot get away from God. When people do the wrong thing, he gonna come back to them and he gonna haunt them and they got to pay, Mr. Patton. Good night, Mr. Patton. Have a pleasant night.
Have a pleasant night as well, my dear brother. And always thank you for your biblical interventions. We go straight back to the lines and say good night to this caller. You're live. Hello, caller.
Good night, Mr. Liburd.
Good night.
The quotation for this evening. Mm-hmm. Drive carefully on the road called life, because people will switch lanes on you without a signal.
Mm-hmm.
I repeat, drive carefully on this road called life, because people will switch lanes on you without a signal. Have a great evening.
Thank you very much, because people will switch lanes on you. Switch lanes on you without a signal. Very interesting quotation. Is on you without a signal. Yes, my Straight Dog family, it's now 7 minutes past the 9 o'clock hour. We welcome you to another edition of Straight Talk. And for those of you who may have just joined me, we are looking at our theme song our theme, our thesis title, beg your pardon, what am I saying? Lock Up July, Lucifer and the Advisors. As we go back to the lines, caller. Hello, caller. Are you there, caller?
Good evening, Patrice.
Good evening, my...
How are you?
I am peaceful. I'm much better. I recognize that voice, so I'm much better now. How are you?
I'm excellent.
I'm happy.
Yes. Then you get everywhere because I don't have sufficient credit on my phone. So,
so sad.
Patrice, I really want to know what's going on in this country. Because people who 50 years going home and them who are charged with hard luck at tackle is coming back to work. So I really want to know what's going on in this country. And I noticed that constituency 6 troubled for a long time and he never keep up with Stanford. And today I hear one. I want to know what all strange going on in thinking. It's gone a month now since the young fella in Nevis died. He and the other one. And the snake just keep broadcast up there last night. What's really going on in this place of thinking of everyone? It look up everything a turn back and going down slowly. Have a pleasant good evening.
Thank you very much for your intervention. Have a pleasant evening as well. Good night, Mr. Patches. I think members of the People's Action Movement were out protesting against the high murder rate, and SK Labour people had all kinds of negative comments to make. It's like they forget that this affects everyone. It seems like Labour can do no wrong for them. Labour is there to serve the people. They are not the royal family. They need to get to work. Read this email. And again, my Straight Talk family, the lines are open and we are entertaining your calls and your emails. If you have just joined me, I was going to say earlier that we are looking at our theme for tonight, Lock Up July, Lucifer, and the Advisors. Let's go back to the lines. Caller, you live. Hello, caller. Hello?
Hello?
Yes, you're live.
Hi, this is your cousin, Master Lewis. How are you doing?
I am peaceful. I'm not hearing you too well. Could you say again?
Cheers, good night. Hello, who's not on the radio? Cheers, good night. This is your cousin, Marshall Lewis from Sandy Point.
Oh, how are you, my dear cousin Marshall? I haven't heard from you for a long time.
Cheers, I'm here. And I just want to say I'm back. Stronger than ever.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't like what's going on.
Nobody does.
And I am back from tonight. I renew my covenant the 22nd of August 2024. I am back.
You renew your covenant with Straight Talk?
Yes, so I am back. Marshall Lewis is back. I want the whole entire world to know that I am back.
Welcome back, Marshall. Welcome back. You know, do not.
Anyhow, I want to send out my condolences to the family of Milk. A nice man with a good heart, my friend. Patrice, I cry so much from Trinidad until now I can't eat, I can't sleep. I just want to send my heartfelt condolences to him and his family, to the entire family and to the entire McKnight area, Pickety Alley area. I just want to say condolences to him. Patrice, I'm going to stay here till now. I just want to tell you, get home safe and be focused, Patrice, my cousin, and be careful.
Yes, thanks.
Focus and be careful because the enemy is real. And I don't want nobody to do my cousin nothing. So I will call back in and he'll relax in a while. And I'm going to call back in with some issue that are affecting the entire nation.
Good to hear you, Marshall. Always ensure that you stand up for you.
But I just want to tell the entire nation that I am back and ready to rumble.
Yes, yes. Thank you.
I want to say a special night to my Prime Minister, Dr. Timothy Harris. Good night, sir. Love you to the moon and back, and I will always love you. Patrick, have a good night, and I'll get back in.
Thank you very much.
In a few minutes.
Thank you very much. Good to hear you.
Okay, Patrick.
My dear cousin. And we go straight back to the lines. Caller, your line. Hello, caller.
Yes, Patrick.
Good night. How is Mr. Culture? Good night. So.
I am good, but broken up with the sad news, the latest one we have here, with the young guy from Pukepe Alley.
Yes.
Full of potential, and that got all of us who have a heart all broken up. But let me say good night to all our listeners in your school, Mr. Straight Talk, Mr. Sloyd Wine, Mr. Welcome, Nabu, Maisie, and the lady from Atlas who in New York, and even this one who just called. We all are broken up. Good night to everybody. Let's just listen to this. Kuno Mono talk about transparent and integrity. He also said that he knows Zambo lend Douglas money. Then they had a meeting how to pay it back to the dread. But when we get the news, we hear him say they shot Zambo dead. They talk about that. That is what's going on in our country. It is a shame to see our criminal activity, our murder rate has reached to 65 in the space of 2 years of our administration of this government. 65! And all because we have some rat advisors minding the cheese. Those what advisor could they give to the minister in charge, which is the prime minister? When you got people like them who break the law, them who supposed to uphold the law and break the law by holding on the government revenue. We all know who that is. And then here comes this one now with all kind of different accent. If you know you are involved in the murder of someone, borrow some money, buy an airline ticket and leave the island because it would cause us a lot of problem. What kind of advice is that? No wonder the people, the young man, them tell us, well, brother, I could borrow my money, have my money there, put away, and make arrangement, book a flight, and then go and commit my crime and then fly out of here, go. Advice? That is what is one to have the people them going on. So you're going to tell me, in the space of a month, 4 murders, criminally act murders, including a 9-year-old child shot in the back of the head, Morsian style, and you're going to tell me the commander-in-chief still going on the plane to fly out? Why he do learning to fly? And then last night, I ain't listen to them. But I hear the topic what they were talking about. Come talking about crime. That is only hot ear. Anytime something seriously happen in this country, that's all they could do. Get on the radio and say the talking. Talking what? That is, there is a vehicle in 1840. It does not work with gas, diesel, nor electricity. None of them did work with. All it work with is a hand lever. Pull it away, zip. And the platform on the motor gone, and that's the end of it. None of them go in parliament where they go into abuse and curse and disrespect people when they have the rights and they're speaking against the right of the country. None of them go in there. and talk about starting up the vehicle in 1840. So that's the reason why too everybody said, well, I could kill, get away, and go in 1840 and get a better life than I'm living out here. Patrick, I will come back. Let somebody else get to do. Because all I have to do is talk about the issues we're going on in the country. And as long as your program is on, I feel good. Because I know you come with the truth. And then I could respond to your program. Thank you very much. So long, Patrick. I'll be back.
Thank you very much for your usual provocative interventions, Mr. Culture. Mr. Liburd reads this email. Who in their right mind can honestly declare that straight talk is a waste of time, that it is ineffective and unimpactful? Well, whoever thinks so better think again, because after last Monday night's episode of Straight Talk, where the opposition was severely criticized for being very calm and philosophical over the increasing rate of murders in this federation, well, the opposition party PAM came out the following day protesting in front of government headquarters, and the premier opposition member, Mark Brantley, declared that he will be addressing the nation on Wednesday night to deal with the crime situation. Well, I was not interested with what he was going to say, so I decided to listen to Big Lies instead, because Mark will only be repeating his rhetoric of the past on crime with more colorful language, but at least Straight Talk has compelled him to address the country for his monthly payment he received as opposition leader, reads this email. And this other email reads, Blessed love, Mr. Straight Talk. How are you? And hope you are doing good. Yes, I'm peaceful, but I feel so broken when I heard the tragic news of cheerleader of PLP number 2 has passed away. And my prayers goes out to the family and friends of Mr. Aziwa Niles Jones. And I miss you, and rest in peace to you, Milk, reads this other email. And my Straight Talk family, it's 20 minutes past the 9 o'clock hour. Tonight, we are looking at the Thesis, as I titled, Lock Up July, Lucifer, and the Advisors. And yes, we cannot lose sight of the fact that we lost a soul, young, upcoming, vibrant young man in the person of Milk, as we call him. Milk was the chair of the PLP constituency number 2 branch. And as you are, Milk, as I said, was brutally gunned down on Tuesday night, cutting short a life that was filled with such great promise. But there are some people who would like to think, and it seems as though things are normal for this crime minister, as I said before. And we looked at the issues as it relates to the lack of collaboration between all these advisors and the Commissioner of Police. We've seen a former commissioner who have come out in support of his colleague, and the former Commissioner of Police, Austin Williams, we knew him as the dancing cop. He was always a lively guy, and he made it abundantly clear that if there's turmoil in national security, and there is obviously turmoil in national security, And former Commissioner Austin Williams has mixed no matters. It's very clear that the advisors must be the ones to go. And he won't accept the making of a scapegoat of Commissioner Sutton. But Commissioner Sutton must stand firm. And I would advise him, as I did before, to ensure that justice is blind. We have heard all about the disrespect shown to you by the National Security Advisor. And when he uses his colorful language, Commissioner, you must lock him up. Lock him up. Put him on the bench for a while. Are you afraid? But my Straight Talk family, the issues as it relates to the national security are many. Many, many issues that need to be addressed. The tenure of the Commissioner of Police so far has been turbulent, rocky, or rather is between a rock and a hard place. But how can he deal with this real situation? And the National Security Advisor, we are told, and the other advisors, I forgot to list one other advisor. How can I? Some Dr. Powell. I forgot to list that one. That's an oversight. They all feel that the commissioner is incompetent. But with this unprecedented crime wave in St. Kitts Nevis, issues have come to the fore that are all in the public wash. We know that the Commissioner of Police has no relationship whatsoever with the National Security Advisor, Wussy Rollins, a man of many names according to his former teacher. And this is clear, very, very clear, my Straight Talk family, because the Commissioner made mention of the ones he supports and respects, because they are the ones who, according to him, respect him. And he spoke, my Straight Talk family, without, as we say in colloquial language, without water in his mouth. He said this, my Straight Talk family.
I also met with the Prime Minister, Honorable Dr. Terence Jew, Deputy Prime Minister, Honorable Dr. Jeffrey Hanley, Mr. Glenroy Blanchard, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of National Security, and Acting Commander of the Defense Force, Major Coyote Sutton, who all pledged to give their full support to the police department. Thank you for your continued support and for placing your confidence in our ability to protect and serve you.
But isn't the National Security Advisor and the other advisors supporting you, Commissioner? We need to know. It is clear, very, very clear, that you do not have their support. But you have the support of many. And I'll go back to the lines and come back to that, my Straight Talk family. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Yes, Patches, I am back with issues of the country, but you hear that email? Thank God for you. Thank God for you. Without you, a lot of us would have been walking like headless chicken in this country. Now, Patches, if you can recall, people have to realize the words that come out of our mouth got to be acceptable in the sight of God. Otherwise, if it is not acceptable in the sight of God, it is dangerous. Some years ago in Parliament, the snake Mark Gandhi stood up in Parliament and said all his political life he was fighting against the Labour government. And he said he is the sheriff. And Douglas Freed, he the sheriff, look how monkey freed gun. You hear those kind of words he using there? Monkey, how monkey freed gun. We all know what gun can do. Gun can destroy life, and that is what gun is doing right now these times. So he's talking like a dog that has the tail, but swinging back his head behind trying to bite the tail, which is not there. Now let me go locally to the water and the Soko minister. He gone said that when they finish the water over cabbage tree cairn, when they finish the well, and he went over there with the fake picture about the drinking water. And then the next one they're gonna tackle is the number 1 or number 2 well in Shadwell, which was capped. And he know the reason why they capped it, because the water was not suitable for human consumption. And now look the amount of areas that the water is being locked off on. Look where Joe live, up to Joe's estate. Yes. Look where he live up there. And up there is affected with the same water too. That is being capped off. That is one of the reasons why he keep going away, because he cannot use the water up there. Otherwise he know what will happen to his belly. But other people who live here cannot do like he and go away. They have to use the contaminated water. Where are the love and concern for the country and the people of this country? They forget when they take the oath, what they said. Everything they said when they conclude with, so help me God. And now you cannot see what the oath, what they make for. They're going opposite that. Then the Soko engineer who come talk about the desalination plant, we don't want to put up by the oil, the ESO bulk station. I wonder if you know that when oil gets to the ground, the oil saturated the ground with contamination, and oil do not move from dirt easily. You have to take up the dirt that has the oil in it to try to get that oil move from there. So when he go put a desalination plant up Newton Bay where the oil bulk was, wonder if you know what's gonna happen. Then they went go study in college to come back what you call idiots. People on the street know more about them there. And they don't want to listen to people on the street. People on the log room surface who has more knowledge and experience about things. But I will let someone else come in. People, if you're listening, call in here, man. Too many issues in this country to talk about. You cannot let them get away. Thank God for Patches with this platform. So all I want to abuse it because they are serving the devil. I'll be back, Patches.
Thank you very much. This email reads, "The Stinking Fish," it is titled. So if he could say the peace program was a criminal enterprise, it only means that July and the Labour Party is now strategically working to put the country and its people on the blacklist. I wonder if July listened to himself before he speaks, because he just busts the bubble with his words of accusations. It's clearly why the country, it is how it is. July knows, reads this email. And this other email reads, "Good night, Patches. What we are seeing playing out in our federation is the judgment of God. The nation is under a curse. These Labour pastors cannot pray for anybody. They are a part of the problem. These pastors were actively spreading Labour propaganda and have been rewarded. Notice how Cyprian Williams, who was awarded with the ombudsman position, no longer marched the town with his placards saying Save St. Kitts. The Labour cabinet of pastors have lied to the people and now cannot even stand before God. Not one word from them, but I am not surprised. Their lies have caught up with them, and we are paying the price. The blood of our slaughtered citizens are on their hands. When the roll is called in the failed Labour government, these pastors are there. Randall Thompson is the head of fisheries. Cyprian Williams is the ombudsman. Bass is the chairman for the port. Carlton Puxon is on the CBI Board of Governors. Janet Harris is chair of the Social Security Board. Leon Matthew is an activist doing Labour's high-tech work. And others who now gone silent. Our nation do not need their prayers. Good night, Patches. What happened to the Christian Council and the Evangelical Association? Are they still active? Haven't heard from them for a while. Read this other email. I do have over 25 such letters sent to the Speaker, legislators, board members, and senior managers of state-owned entities, permanent secretaries, and others. Should they all go to jail, the halls of power and government will be emptied. What a planka. The question of the day is, did any minister submit late? And will the Prime Minister allow supporters to be prosecuted? Comrades are up in arms and big Labour lawyers are upset. And this is the letter. I have not read it, so before I go on air with it, I would like to read it. But thanks for that letter. It's not too late. Perhaps I'll read it next time around. I haven't really seen it, and it's not too clear, my Straight Talk family. But it's 26 minutes before the 10 o'clock hour. And if you're joining me for the first time on Straight Talk is heard every Monday and Thursday from 8 to 10 in the PM. And we address the issues of the day. And within the thesis, which I titled Lock Up July, Lucifer and the Advisors, we looked at the issue as it relates, for example, to the tests that these officers are failing. We looked at the issues that are been reliably rumored, and policy issues like a polygraph test must be adhered to. And this is affecting the Royal St. Christopher and Nevis Police Force. Because if you have all these officers who are failing their polygraph tests, then how could agencies provide you intelligence and be comfortable with that? And my Straight Talk family, we asked the Commissioner of Police, is it true that either every single officer or 90% of the Prime Minister's security detail failed a polygraph test? Is it true that the officer that the Prime Minister is adamant ought to be promoted to superintendent, having applied for your own position as Commissioner of Police and the deputy, but who was pushed up in the ranks? He's failed his polygraph test locally. He's failed his polygraph test overseas. But again, when we look at the crime situation, we ask ourselves, what is the relationship between the customs and the police? Because unless it's a secret, Straight Talk cannot point to one seizure in the past 2 years. What about the Coast Guard vessels? Is the Coast Guard doing any patrols? And where are the vessels, my Straight Talk family? These are issues that must come to the fore. So what does this mean when we talk about interdiction of guns and drugs? How are we addressing these threats, my Straight Dog family? But under July and Lucifer, we have a bad situation that will only get worse, my Straight Dog family. Remember, the Prime Minister said this about the peace program, my Straight Dog family. He said this too.
We have a serious gun problem in our society. This societal ill reflected throughout the region has been serious for us for at least 2 decades now. But it has worsened because of the introduction of money into the equation. Not only do the gangs have numerous members, but because of the ill-advised peace program, they have significant amounts of money used to buy influence and dangerous sophisticated weapons which are used to carry out heinous acts. That is why the focus in our National Security Council meeting earlier today was suppression. Suppression in preventing the inception of crime or preventing expansion of criminal activity.
And my Straight Dog family, when you listen to our Prime Minister, we ask a very simple question. Is he in a different world? My Straight Dog family, he has made no comment whatsoever after these brutal assassinations. A young man gunned down. He has referred to the peace program as a criminal enterprise. He changed the name to Elevate. But he's still paying these persons, over 700 of them. And the same structure is in place through the same development bank he spoke so badly about. But it's taken away their ability to start their own businesses. And most of these persons are sitting idly at home, my Straight Dog family. And my Straight Dog family, I just want to make the point again that, and I ask the question, isn't the National Security Advisor, with his own comments, an accessory to the crime or aiding and abetting crime? No matter what he said about Miss Spoke, don't believe that, my Straight Dog family. Don't believe that for a moment.
If you know that you're involved in the murder of someone, I would encourage you to borrow some money, buy an airline ticket, and leave the island. Because it's going to cause us problems. That's as bluntly as I could say.
And my Straight Dog family, isn't the NSA, from his comments, trying to assist a principal offender after committing a crime? Listen to it carefully. My Straight Dog family, listen carefully.
If you know that you're involved in the murder of someone, I would encourage you to borrow some money, buy an airline ticket, and leave the island. because it's going to cause us problems. That's as bluntly as I could say.
And my Straight Talk family, one of the advisors, as I said, is still reliably rumored as a person of interest in the shooting of the Big Dread. It is a cold case, and the former Deputy Prime Minister, Conda, can assist in bringing closure to this matter. Remember, Conda said this, my Straight Talk family.
What I could say to Douglas is that I know that the Jambo had given him money, he had loaned him money, and he had invested. And just before Zambo died, there was a meeting between Halva, myself, and Zambo about how he could recover his monies that he invested in the property and his property and so on. And Halva was supposed to organize a meeting with Zambo and Douglas to make those arrangements. I think those meetings were organized, but shortly after that, Zambo died, shot to death.
And my Straight Talk family, we were still reliably informed, or we are still reliably informed, or it is still reliably rumored or alleged that shells found at the crime scene match military grade ammunition. But how do you deal with the upsurge in crime? How do? They have reacted, my Straight Talk family, and suspended all leave. But that's something that's been done each time. But that won't help, my Straight Talk family. It won't help. And you can glean the communication that was sent out just yesterday from the force personnel officer. I am writing to inform you of an urgent operational directive that requires immediate attention and compliance. Effective immediately, all forms of leave, including vacation leave, have been suspended across the entire Royal St. Christopher and Nevis police force. This decision has been necessitated by the current surge in homicides and demands our force, which require full complement of personnel to ensure public safety, law, and order. In light of this, all officers currently on vacation leave in the Federation are hereby recalled to duty. Officers are expected to report to their respective stations or assign duties without delay. We recognize the importance of leave for the well-being of our officers, and this decision was not taken lightly. However, the present circumstances demand that we all stand ready to fulfill our duties to the fullest extent possible. Divisional commanders are instructed to ensure that this directive is communicated to all affected personnel. We invite all available ranks to the General Commissioner's lecture on Friday, 23, that's tomorrow, at the Police Training School at 0900 hours. Your cooperation and dedication in these challenging times are highly appreciated. But my Straight Talk family, an issue of polygraph. A polygraph test, I submit, must be adhered to, because agencies within the chain the USA, Canada, UK, Europe, the Caribbean. They won't share intelligence with your organization if your officers, Commissioner Sutton, keep failing their polygraph tests. And we ask again, what is the relationship between His Majesty Customs and the police? My Street Dog family, what is the role of the Coast Guard as it relates to covering our borders?
This afternoon, we are assembled here to witness the formal handing over of 2 interceptor vessels and other equipment being donated to the government of St. Kitts and Nevis by the government of the United States of America. These vessels, with their trailers, spare parts, and a tow vehicle, are provided under the Secure Seas Package, a component program of the Caribbean Basin Security Initiative, of which I'm sure you will hear a little bit more this afternoon.
And some of these vessels, or 2 of these vessels, I must say, are abandoned in a boatyard in the countryside. And we ask, what does this mean when we speak about interdiction of guns and drugs and the human smuggling? My Street Dog family, what has been done since the upsurging crime? Reaction, reactiveness. No proactivity. How are we addressing these threats? My Street Dog family. Under July, I submit, we have a bad situation that will only get worse before it gets better. And my Street Dog family, we are now back to where we were. On the label, we were labeled the murder capital of the world. And I don't feel proud to say that. As my Street Dog family, we have to provide you with the facts. And those are the facts, my Street Dog family. Those are the facts. Goodnight Patches reads this email. I am sick of Curtis Martin parading the hospital and health centers like he knows about health. He keeps telling workers that they are insubordinate and feel like he knows it all, even when the is it cleaners? Why would it say cleaners? Know more about health than him. He feels intimidated because he don't have a degree and get this big political position, and he is a political activist. No permanent secretary should hold such positions. Patches, politics have no place in health or health care. That is why the doctors and nurses are underperforming. Curtis Martin is not only a rubber stamp, pushing out all qualified health officials. He's further damaging the Ministry of Health. That's why they misdiagnose a ghost with food poisoning instead of a sick appendix. Reads that email. Good night, Patches. The peace program is not the reason for the recent surge in homicide. Stop peddling that nonsense, Mr. Prime Minister. Reads this other email. Dear Patches, I wanted to bring your attention to some alarming developments at the New Horizons Rehabilitation Center in Old Road. It has come to light that 5 juveniles escaped from the facility over 2 weeks ago. However, what's more concerning is the high level of secrecy surrounding this incident. Despite the escape happening weeks ago, there was no public alert or call for assistance from the community. It seems like the authorities choose to keep this information under wraps rather than seeking the public's help in locating these youth. This lack of transparency is troubling, especially given the importance of community safety and the well-being of the escapees. Even more disturbing are the reports that Prime Minister Dr. Ju is angry about the leak of this information and that employees are being threatened as the administration attempts to find out who disclosed the escape. This suggests a deliberate effort to hide the truth from the public, which raises concerns about what other information might be kept from us. I believe it's crucial that the public is made aware of these issues, and I hope you can help bring this matter to light. Read this email. And that should be public business. I am in total agreement with that. My Straight Talk family. But at 7 before the 10 o'clock hour, we wrap tonight's program, which is titled, our thesis, which is titled, My Straight Talk Family, Lock Up July. Lucifer and the advisors. And tonight, my Straight Talk family, we looked at that thesis. And I introduced the thesis by reflecting on what happened many, many years ago, or several years ago. And I reflected when an inspector called James Sutton, who was attached to the Financial Intelligence Unit that dealt with white-collar crime, and a well-known lawyer, labor lawyer, apparently filed a report with the Financial Intelligence Unit. And this inspector, no doubt with the approval of the then Commissioner of Police, Ian Creedy, procured a warrant in the first instance, an arrest warrant, and tried to serve it on a sitting member of cabinet who remains nameless. But this lawyer with the initials SA convinced the police who secured the arrest warrant from a magistrate in Basseterre. But it was then Director of Public Prosecutions, Baston Graham, as I said earlier, who intervened and brokered an agreement between the parties to have the matter settled by 10 o'clock on the following Monday morning, thus avoiding the restraining of the liberty of these two high-ranking officials over the weekend. I reflected on the incident, and my first reaction was, here's a zealous inspector of police injecting politics in his job. But when I further reflected, my Straight Dog family, I quite honestly began to admire the courage of Inspector Sutton, who I believe back then, that courage was founded in the concept that justice was blind. Somehow, this inspector, they were apt to spend years in Nevis. And as fate would have it, I said, the political administration changed in St. Kitts years after. And this inspector got a golden handshake from the fourth Prime Minister and was catapulted into his present role as Commissioner of Police. I'll take this and make this my final call, if you can use...
Patrice, very good. Good night, Patrice.
Good night, my dear.
I'm happy to be the final caller for tonight. Patrice, I'm calling tonight with a great passion to speak about some white-collar criminals. I am not talking about the gang people, the gang men. I'm talking about the white-collar criminal on your workplace. Patrice, it got some of them, some bosses. They want to pick out to send home. They want to send home people in the 49 years and the 50. But they got workers in their 70 and 60. And because they're back in one party, they don't want to send them home, you see. But nobody gonna tell me who to back and who to vote for. I used to be a Labour for 20 years. Do all kind of things for Labour, I ain't get nothing from Labour. Nothing. Patrice, the next time you come on, I'm going to outline the amount of work I do for Labour. I'm a PLP for roughly 5 years now. And my family has been victimized. They want to shove, do all kind of evil manner thing to my family. This is my political right. I vote for who I want to vote for, Patrice. And I said it on and only the gang man, them a criminal, you have some criminal in high places. Wicked people want to victimize it because of your political affiliation, Patrice. This is what I am talking about. The victimization, they come in and so they don't want that to come in. Fooling the people so that they're a part of the victimization, but they're still victimizing people. And I reach a stage in my life that nobody's going to silence me no longer. I am going to speak out and I'm going to speak the truth. People need to stop watching the gang people then, because he has some white-collar criminals in St. Kitts. Wicked people. Wicked people, Patrice. That's not at all. They don't like nobody. They like themselves. Me, myself, and I. Wicked set of people. But one day, the bucket gonna go away and the baton gonna drop out. I used to hear this song from my grandmother. Patrice, things not going well in this Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. We need prayer. Lots of prayer, Patrice. And I'm going to say this and I'm going to put this on record. Nobody going to silence me no more. What they want do they do? Because if the Labour Party know how much work I put in for them, the old party and the new party, everybody know how much work I put in for Labour. For me, me young papa teenagers, like I think I 16 years old, and now they enjoying the cannon. I come down behind Jane the cannon in my Labour shop, and my little shop and in my baton. And no remark, no respect they have for people. They don't know what to say, Patrice. But I'm going to say this. Time soon come. Time soon come. Today for me, tomorrow for you. Time soon come.
Okay.
And I don't care when nobody say. It is well with my soul. Whatever they want to do, they do. It is well with my soul.
Okay, my dear.
I know who I want to vote for and I know who I like, Patrice. But You Patrice, I'm going to rest my case here tonight. Get home safe as I usually say. Be safe, drive safe. And I will come back on with much greater things. God spare my life on Monday. God spare my life. Patrick, have a good night.
Have a good night as well, my dear. I did say that will be my last call, but I'll take this one if you can use 30 seconds. Can you? Are they caller?
Hello?
Yes, you're live.
Mr. Liburd.
So?
I live in the United States, in the state of Ohio. The governor of Ohio decided to make what is called constitutional carry. That means you don't need a license to have a gun. The 88 sheriff back against it. The results are in now. After a year, the shootings are down. Because everybody who wants a gun has one. So you have to be concerned with, well, I am not the only person in St. Kitts with a gun. Now you also have to do additional training. So I just decided to put it out there as food for thought. That give everybody the opportunity to have a gun, and we see shootings go down. And the customs, I don't know if it's the decision, but the custom duty on the firearms is 108% in St. Kitts. In the BVI is 25%. So you cannot get an amnesty and get people handing the firearms when they already paid so much money for it.
But you know that at least different jurisdictions have their different policies. Are you suggesting that if everybody's armed, then we'll have that problem? That's what you're suggesting?
I'm suggesting that if everybody is armed, there will be less gun violence. Because what you have, the other person have is just as, and you got to understand whether you are better than him or you're more accurate than him, and you don't know until you try. Nobody wants to lose.
Interesting. That's very interesting.
Now you hear about these school shootings in Ohio. I mean, all over the United States. But we don't have it in Ohio because they have adopted a policy to have the teachers trained by the police. And since that has happened, every school in Cincinnati have teachers trained in firearms. Nobody knows which school has what. So they are not prepared to lose. They will not go and have a mass shooting at a school in Cincinnati.
Okay.
You hear about it in Texas, but that's just food for thought.
Interesting.
And have a good night, sir.
Yes, have a good night as well. Perhaps that's a very interesting call. to conclude our program, if everyone is armed, then we wouldn't have this problem. I reflected on my days in the United Kingdom when the view was, and perhaps still is, if the police get armed, the citizens would arm themselves. But I guess every jurisdiction would have their own policies. And that's the way we're going to end it, my Straight Talk family, as we wind up to night's programming with the view that some are expressing that Commissioner of Police James Sutton should lock up July and Lucifer for aiding and abetting the criminals after they dismantled the peace program, which he called a criminal enterprise. He changed the name to Elevate and is still paying over 700 persons, we are told, through the same development bank to sit at home idly. But Commissioner Sutton, I'm sure, will be cautious, because if the Prime Minister does not agree with the Public Police Service Commission for any appointments, it shall not be advanced to the Governor General. But July and Lucifer, no doubt, will also have some degree of legal immunity or protection from prosecution while in office, as it may typically cover their actions taken in their official capacity. But what about the National Security Advisor, who said publicly, although he tried to walk it back, he said publicly to those who committed crimes, and my good Straight Talk family culture really mimes him well when he said this, my Straight Talk family.
If you know that you're involved in the murder of someone, I would encourage you to borrow some money, buy an airline ticket, and leave the island, because it's going to cause us problems. That's as bluntly as I could say.
And my Straight Talk family, we are told that the NSA has no respect for the Commissioner of Police, and he literally cursed bad words in meetings. We haven't confirmed that. Well, we asked ourselves, and someone suggested that the Commissioner of Police should lock up this advisor, because what he is suggesting is trying to assist a criminal, a principal offender, after committing a crime. So is the NSA an accessory to crime? We spoke of one of the advisors, who is still a person of interest, my Straight Dog family. And there are many issues that can be addressed, Mr. Commissioner. But one issue you ought to address is the polygraph test. What's the policy as relates to polygraph testing? What is the relationship between His Majesty's Customs and the police? Because there was not one seizure that we have heard of in the past 2 years. Is the Coast Guard doing any patrols? What and where are their vessels? So what does this mean and we talk about interdiction of guns and drugs. What has been done since the upsurge in crime? My Straight Talk family, how are we addressing these threats? Under July and Lucifer, we have a bad situation that will get worse before it gets better. That's the general consensus. Commissioner of Police James Sutton, I will end as I began and implore you to be courageous and exercise your statutory authority to arrest these advisors. There's probable cause that one or two of them have committed a crime. Let your justice be blind. Hold everyone to account. Lucifer, for example, ensure that he operates within the parameters of the Constitution. And once you find probable cause, lock up July, Lucifer, and the advisors. That's my story tonight, my Straight Talk family, and I'm not going to change it. Until we connect on Monday for another edition of Straight Talk. Be aware of this quotation. Drive carefully on the road of life, because some will switch lanes on you without a signal. Remember, whatever your mind conceive, that you will achieve. But first of all, you got to believe. So when you wake in the morning, thank God for the morning light. Thank Him for taking you through the night. And my Straight Talk family, keep moving on. Have yourselves a wonderful weekend. Be good to all whom you meet. And remember, whatever your mind conceive, that you will achieve. All you have to do is believe. Bye-bye, my Straight Talk family. Until we connect on Monday.
In the morning, I thank God for the morning light. Give Him thanks and praises for taking me safely through the night. For the rest of food